I think, do you need a mic to be recorded? Or your normal voice will get recorded?
Better,
Yeah,
better make it.
Okay, good evening all. And sorry to talk in English. Despite being married to a Bangalorean for 26 years, I could not speak one line in Kannada. So, but she learned to speak fluently in Tamil.
You are not interested. Wives usually talk.
Huh?
Husbands usually are silent.
So, thank you for coming here and patiently listening to us and experiencing our solution. Your feedback is very important to us, and definitely they will help in improving our product to be more and more useful to you. So I want to probably talk for about 30 minutes on only one topic, right, which is what is the opportunity in front of us now. So if you are in a retail business for generations, what is the future of our business, and what are the opportunities in front of us, and how do we actually leverage that opportunity? Because the market conditions today are, there are a lot of competition, there is a lot of, investment, both from within India and from abroad, that are chasing this opportunity. So I want to put this in a little bit of a perspective first, before talking about how do we leverage this opportunity. So in fact, the best place to start is what Mr. Sanjeev Mehta, the chairman of HUL, said in 2019, just before the pandemic. So he said the FMCG consumption in India is among the lowest in the world. The per capita FMCG consumption, how much every person in India consumes, FMCG, that is among the lowest in the world. So he also said if FMCG, per capita FMCG consumption in India increases to what it is in Indonesia, our total FMCG market will be twice the top what it is today. If it increases to China levels, it will be 4 times what it is today. If it increases to Philippines level, it will be 6 times what it is today. If it is to Thailand levels, it will be 8 times what it is today. So that means that, this is just to show, even in something as basic as food, packet, the food, the consumer product, packaged food and things like that, how much, how low we consume, right, as a population. This is mainly because of the per capita income, right? And we all know that demographically India is one of the youngest countries definitely compared to all the developed world. And in almost all the developed countries, the population growth has stopped. Population is declining. Right? India is one country where population is still increasing. Right? And if you consider that, right, we definitely have more economic growth ahead of us. Our income levels will grow. And income levels grow, the first thing people are going to do is consume more FMCG products, consume more electronic products, consume more furniture, consume more restaurant food, all the things that, more clothes. Right? So that is going to happen. In the last 10 years, we have seen it. In the last 10 years, definitely there has been increase in the income levels, and we have seen how consumption has increased. In the last 10 years, people have started eating out more, people have started buying electronics more, people have started buying dresses more, people have started buying FMCG products more. All of them have really improved. And in the next 5-10 years, definitely India will reach, the Indonesia levels and the China levels in the next few years. So this is the opportunity that people who are investing in this business are seeing. They are not investing to steal market share from you. Right? It's not a fixed pie, right? Meaning the market is growing very slowly at a small percentage a year. In that fixed price, how can they steal market share from you? So that is not why they are investing. Right? If the incremental, let's say in the next 4 or 5 years, FMCG consumption in India will double. Right? Then, if the existing players in the market just retain their market share, whatever they are doing, not retain their market share, they retain their business. They have very low growth. Then 5 years later, if they only take 20% of the incremental business, and the 80% of the incremental business go to people who invest heavily, right? Because the people who are investing heavily is catching the young, the college students, the young professional who has just joined work. And if they change their habit, they are the people who will consume more and more in the coming years. So that means that in the growth, they will have a much higher share of the growth than what you can do. So that means that 10 years later, it will look like, the market has doubled. What is 100 has become 200. In the 100, you have 89-88% market share today. Those people who are investing have 12% market share. But in 10 years, the market will be 200, where you may have 100 or 180 or 100 or 120. They will have 80, 120 or 100 or 80. Right? That is a possibility they want. And that is a possibility that can happen only if you don't invest on technology. You don't invest on giving experience. You don't invest on digital transformation. Right? That's what will happen. If you don't invest on digital transformation, if you don't invest on technology, definitely you will only be relying on serving customers who walk into your store. All the incremental growth will go to people who invest to build the products and build the experiences for online shopping, omni-channel commerce, and things like that. Okay? So, the whole idea here is if you want to leverage the opportunity, whether you are a 50-year-old business, 30-year-old business, or 10-year-old business, or a 100-year-old business, it doesn't matter. Experience does not matter here too much because your experience is in one dimension, which is physical retailing. But what is required now, the change that is happening now is omni-channel retailing. As consumers want to come in any channel they choose to, and they want delivery in any channel they want, and they want to pay in any channel they choose. So only if we give that omni-channel experience, we can really take that lion's share of the growth in the market. So why there is so much investment chasing the market here is because the opportunity is huge here. You can even say that because the population is not growing, countries are aging. For example, India's average age is about 28, 29. China is 10 years older than us. Countries like USA or Europe are mostly 10 years older than us. Japan is 50 plus average age. And as people age, consumption goes down. So people with money in those markets know that if their population is not getting any younger, their market is going to shrink in terms of consumption. That's why they want to put their money in markets which will be growing. That's why opportunity is chased by so much money in India. So this is the first thing we have to understand, right? Opportunity is there. If people who don't know India believe so much in our opportunity, why are we not invest in that opportunity? That's the question we have to ask ourselves. You have to convince yourself, by asking the questions on this. If opportunity is there, and the people in New York and London and San Francisco and Dubai and Singapore can see that opportunity, sitting right here, why are we not seeing that opportunity and investing in the future? Okay, so that's one question I definitely want you to ponder about and come to a conclusion on the conviction on this opportunity so that you can invest. And so if you are convinced about the opportunity, the next thing is how do I make the best use of this opportunity? Because this opportunity is now recognized by everybody. So this is not a secret anymore, right? and everybody knows it, and everybody is going to try. And like Charles Darwin said, the strongest does not survive, the most intelligent does not survive. So who survives? The one who is most adaptable to change survives. Right? That means there is a historic change happening here. The change in consumer behavior happening here because it is aided by technology. So then, are we going to be the people who are most adaptable to change? Are we going to basically, understand what the change is and prepare ourselves for the change? Because this change is not an event. Right? So it is not like, I want to go green, so I will put a solar plant, or I will replace my IC engine bike or car with an electric bike or electric car. Those are all events. You make a decision, you have the money, you go, sell your old car in, any of those portals and buy a new car. And it's as simple as that. Whereas digital transformation is not like that. Becoming an omni-channel business is not like that. It is not just, or simply buying a tool and implementing it. Right? It requires a lot more than that. So I'll definitely talk about what it requires. But before that, this word digital has really become, very popular. Everybody uses digital very frequently, and most of the time, because it is used so widely, we all seem to understand it, but not understanding it. Right? Meaning, we are shy of asking what is digital. So I used to think about what is digital to me, what is digital to my business, what is digital to my customer's business, and what I think digital is to me, computer era is where you go and operate the computer. You command the computer by clicking on a menu, and the computer responds with certain things, whatever that menu means. Right? And so you are the master there, computer is responding to your command. Whereas the digital is, where the computer becomes the master. Right? And you just obey its command. Like, that's how I'll put it. Because why is Uber able to scale so much? They have, maybe 1 million cab drivers across the world. Right? Many millions of rides booked every day. Except the systems in the cloud servers, nobody is sweating. Right? So how is it possible? Because you say where you want to, where you are is automatically detected. You say where you want to go. The computer is actually finding out who are the drivers in that vicinity. Computer is sharing the right details. Whoever accepts that, you are told who is the driver, how much time it will take you to reach the destination, how much time it will take for the driver to reach you, how much you have to pay the driver, what is the rating of the driver, how many rides he has done to build your trust and confidence. Everything is shown to you. And nobody calls the driver, neither from Uber nor you have to call. In India, there is a hack, you have to call and say, I'm only paying by cash. You can come. Right? But that's not part of the system. Right? That's something we do for our convenience. Right? But the driver shows up, you take the ride, you don't have to speak a word. The vehicle is clean, driver is well behaved, because you can rate, the driver can rate. So it's a frictionless experience. Imagine 10-15 years back, a local travel agency where you used to book your car. For one trip, how many calls you have to make? So you see how much of a difference digital has made. We always used to think that the Indian auto driver and cab drivers, we have to haggle a lot. It's hard to work with and things like that. But how did Uber and Ola change their behavior so much? They are being just monitored by a machine, not even by a human being. And I have asked many Uber drivers, does anybody from Uber actually talk to them? Right? They also don't have any driver support or driver motivation kind of a team. If you want to work, you work. Right? So much. In fact, most of the drivers I speak to say they are having tremendous freedom. And the thing is, in UK, all the Uber drivers sued Uber, saying they are like full-time employees. They have to be given all the benefits of employment. Uber contested that, but the UK judge ruled that Uber actually has more control over the drivers than any normal employer has over its employees. Because the moment you log in, you are being tracked. What you do, where you go, how you behave with the customer. Everything is tracked. Much more than any humanly possible supervision. But drivers all feel they have a lot of freedom. They can work when they want, they can log in when they want, they can log off when they want, and they have total freedom. Nobody is calling and asking. So, see, this is the Gen Z behavior. Right? They are okay to be digitally supervised all the time. And even algorithms telling them what to do, right? Pushing videos and contents that they should read and they should watch and things like that. But they enjoy their freedom, and when you tell them, can you do this, and even politely request them, it's an intrusion, lack of freedom. So now, but your business needs people, and younger people. You have to give them the freedom. If you want to retain people, you digitally supervise them whether they are doing their work okay, right? And make it easy for them, but give them the freedom. So to me, digital is, how can, if Uber can do it, if Swiggy can do it, Swiggy also delivers, probably millions of orders a day. Zomato delivers millions of orders a day. They both have 300,000 delivery partners each. If they can do it, how close are you in your business where every employee in your team has a smartphone and they get instructions from the computer on what to do. If no instruction from the computer, they are happily engaged with the customer. They can smile and they can be free. So that is the standard we have to set for digital transformation. To the extent possible, we use intelligent systems in the store to manage all the operations, manage all the things, so that people are there to relate to people. People are there to help people. People are there, to give that psychological safety to the experience to the customer. So that is the, if we can do that, that is what digital transformation is. So our goal, whatever solution you saw with GoShoot or Order Easy and Go Deliver, and whatever things you will see in the next couple of sessions, the I and the exclusive CRM and products like that, all of them, our goal is to transform your business digitally. And the good news is we don't want to make it a strategic project where you have a digital transformation team or a digital transformation head in your business who will do research for 2-3 years and choose a tool and do the transformation for another 2 years. Because we know your business can't, work like that. You won't get so many digital transformation champions in your business. So we are giving these tools so that you can take one area at a time. For example, deploying Go Deliver is easier or Order Easy is easier because you don't have anything like that today. And deploying GoShoot, for stock take or for GRM and all, this is an alternative that will work very well. So you take one process at a time and transform that digitally in your existing solution. And we will probably give you 15-20 such tools. You deploy it one at a time, that area becomes digitally transformed. You will see the benefits and you keep going with that. So that's our goal. Okay. So now maybe I'll stop here, and if there are any questions I'll answer, and then I'll conclude with what should you do to transform your business digitally? That's the last section I will cover. I hope by now you understand the opportunity and you understand why it is important to go digital. So the last section is how to go digital. But before that, any questions I would like to answer. Say something, sir. Am I making sense? Yes. So no questions. So let's say you understand the opportunity, you are convinced about the opportunity, and you are also convinced that you must transform digitally, right, to leverage that opportunity. The next question is, how do I do that? Because a lot of times when we have the best intent to do it, we think we will start tomorrow, but the tomorrow never comes. So it is important that we start this today. So what I am going to do is maybe talk about 5 important things that are part of this digital transformation and how you can start today. Okay. So to me, the first and most important thing is the customer journey. See, why is a Uber or a Swiggy or a Amazon or a Nykaa or anybody, they are able to scale so fast? It is because of the fact that they have, you can say, they have well documented customer journey that not only covers the happy part of the customer journey. By happy part of the customer journey, I mean customer comes in contact with your business. They go through the sales process of your company, your product or service, and then they go with the product and they are a happy customer. That's the happy part. Whereas at any point in time, the customer can drop off. Including after making payment, they can say, I don't want delivery. After taking delivery, they may want to return and take the payment back. And so many cases are there. Right? So the Ubers and Swiggies and Amazons are successful because every scenario, whether it is happy path or unhappy path, right? Whatever reason that unhappy path is created, everything is clearly documented and a clear exit is given. And that exit is automated in the system. We have seen it in Uber, right? When we cancel a ride, they will deduct 50 rupees. The moment you go to some other menu and say, driver cancelled this, they will refund the 50 rupees. Nowhere they will say, okay, here you have to call Uber. Actually, Uber globally don't have a phone number to call. Right? So everything is clearly anticipated, okay, and resolution provided. In fact, they say, if they charge you 50 rupees for cancelling the ride. Okay. If you object, they immediately refund. If they put a person to inquire your objection and decide whether to refund or not, they will actually spend 250 rupees, and if they deny the refund, they will end up with an unhappy customer. So they say it's better to pay 50 rupees to the objecting customer because you will come out on top, more profitable in processing refund by doing that. Right? So same thing with Swiggy, same thing with Amazon. So that means to go omni-channel or to go digital, the most important thing is understanding the customer journey with your business, having the policies clearly documented, having the process clearly defined, automating that process in your system. So to me, most of our small business remains small because in some businesses even the happy part can't be done by the employees without talking to the owner. In some other business that grows a little bit more, none of the unhappy part can be done without talking to the owner. So a owner walks into the store, If all the employees will have at least one question to ask him, the owner's ego is stoked. He feels very good. I am indispensable to my business. Wherever people make themselves indispensable to their business does not grow beyond a very small office. So only when we learn to come up with the policies, processes and the automation with the tools. That's what Ubers and Swiggies and Zomatos and Amazons have shown us. So that customer journey, in fact many of our businesses, we have never looked at customer journey holistically. I am sure most of our businesses, we don't have a documented customer journey. And anything we do is an incremental patch. Okay, this is the problem, we will update like this. We will do like this and that. We may not train everybody on it. So next time the same problem happens, we may come up with a different solution. So it is very important that the customer journey is very clearly understood, documented, policies are updated based on that, processes are defined to handle that, training materials are updated, and the automation is done, right? So that we have a 100% frictionless customer journey. Only if we do that, you know where to even empower your customer facing staff. So that is the first thing, the customer journey transformation. To me, digital transformation starts from there. The second thing is the cultural transformation, because as partners or owners or proprietors or CEOs of the business, right? Do we want to build a culture of empowerment? Because digital is all about empowerment. In the case of consumers who are dealing with Ubers and Amazons and Swiggy, the customer feels empowered. There is no anxiety. See, digital also means there is no anxiety to the user. The moment I book a Uber cab, I know whether I am getting a cab or not. If I get a cab, I know who is the driver and how much time it will take to arrive. So there is no anxiety here. I don't have to keep calling somebody. Right? So that anxiety reduction happens. So in the culture, empowerment, whether we are able to give people responsibilities, make them accountable for their responsibilities. As per the process we define, to give them the authority to make decisions. Right? Those are very important, because when you transform digitally, what is my role, what is my authority are clear to me, and it is captured in the system. Right? So this culture is also very important, because in most of our business, we are not very clear about what decisions can my team member make and what decision only I have to make. And most of the time, nobody wants to take responsibility. They don't want to make any decision. So that slows us down. Right? They do reverse delegation. Every decision they will wait for their boss. So that culture have to be, changed if we want to be an omnichannel business. So the cultural transformation is the second important thing. And the third one is the business model. So when you actually want to digitally transform, when you do all this, you are actually going to invest more on technology. And you are going to become omnichannel. And that means that every channel will have a different cost. See, today, for example, you accept payment in cash, there is no cost. If you accept payment by UPI, there is no cost. If you accept payment by credit card, there is a cost, depending on what card it is. If you accept payment by debit card, there is a different cost. Right? So, depending on how customer chooses to pay, you have different costs associated with it. Same thing is going to happen in which channel customer is going to order. If you are on Amazon, if customer orders through Amazon, you have a cost. If customer orders through your own e-commerce, there is a cost. If customer walks into your store, there is a cost. And delivery, if customer takes the delivery, you probably have very little cost. If you have to deliver to the customer, there is a cost. Right? So that means that in every channel, the costs are changing. I'll give you an example. If you followed Zomato's quarterly results, right? Zomato, the petrol prices kept going up. So in the first quarter after going public, Zomato had a contribution margin of 6.3%. And the second quarter after going public, because the petrol prices were increasing, the contribution margin reduced by 2.5%. It became 4.3%. In the next quarter, petrol prices increased even more. Their contribution margin came down to 1.7%. Right? So the fuel price increase had such impact on their, delivery cost. So today, so many things are changing in cost. Right? Like not only fuel prices, if you are in food business, oil prices are changing. Suddenly onion prices are changing. So many changes are happening. Like chip shortage is there. The electronics, the chip prices are going up. So much is changing in the cost. So how many of us have this habit of reviewing our business model? So it is one thing to do a knee-jerk reaction. Okay, this cost increased approximately, I increased my price by so much. But our competition is not thinking like that. They know every line item of cost. Right? So what is our business model? What are the different cost items? Are we capturing all the cost items, and what are the costs that are attributable to sales, direct cost? What are the costs that are not attributable to sales, the indirect cost? Right. Direct cost will be a percentage of the sales value. So you can directly calculate the contribution margin. The indirect cost all will be the overheads. So how does it come into play in your sales value? How do we keep updating this business model? Because when we digitally transform, even for marketing there are so many channels. So for us to make decisions, we have to monthly, quarterly look at our business model. When we have to change the business model a little bit. We have to be agile. See this Darwin's theory of whose most adaptable survives means that the business model also keeps evolving. We are able to understand the change and fit it into the business model. That change. Okay. So that is the third transformation. The fourth one is the technology. In technology, in the last 10-20 years back, or even 5 years, you can say we have adopted a product. For the next 10 years, I don't have to worry about technology. It's like buying a car. Right? We make a decision about what car to buy. Next 5 to 10 years or 15 years, we don't worry about it. We keep driving the same car. We make a decision about buying a TV. Next 5 years, mobile phone next 3 years. We don't keep revisiting the decision every month. Because the resale value of the mobile is so low, we better use it for 3 years. Right? But the technology you use for your business, the software is not like that. The software has to be agile. Software has to continuously evolve because there are so many changes happening in the market. So how do you keep a software that is agile, that keeps pace with the changes? For example, like 7 years or 8 years back in Go Frugal, we started this weekly patch update. I think for the last 7.5 years, for all our product, we have been delivering weekly update. And delivering that kind of weekly update in software, which any and every customer can download and use on their own, in itself is a very big thing in software. It is a demonstration of agility. Right? Because of that, we are able to respond to change much faster than anybody else. Because we not only have the ability to respond to the change, we also have the ability to push that change down to the last customer. So everything is, we are able to give as an incremental update rather than as a big change. Right? That is agility. Agility means, iterative. Right? We give small incremental update iteratively. So if you look back after a 3-month or a 6-month period, you actually crossed a big mountain by every week taking 1 or 2 steps. You have actually covered 100, 200 steps in a 6 months time. That kind of agility is important in a software vendor. In the technology you adopt, any piece of technology you use. In fact, Bill Gates used to say this very nicely 20 years back. He said in technology or in business, what matters is not where you are. Right? What matters is how fast you are moving. So he said that if you stay in the same place, you get run over. That is more and more true today than even when he said it. Because I can't say I will stay in the same place and expect, to be in business. Because whatever model in which I am doing business will slowly become obsolete. Right? And new ways have to be learned. For that, technology is the biggest differentiator. Right? So technology has to be adopted. So this technology transformation is the fourth important thing. And the last one is the people transformation. People, I'm saying last, but it's the biggest. Okay. Why do I say people transformation? Finally, in many of our businesses, we, do we use people as a labor, or do we pay for people's brain also? In fact, that is very important, right? Because when you want to digitally transform, can we sensitize everybody to identify friction? Can we sensitize everybody to, when they identify a friction, can we actually encourage them to find the solution? If they suggest the solution, can we reward them for that? Because then the whole work environment becomes highly participative. See, in my view, when somebody goes to a very large, retail, like let's say Reliance Geomart or D-Mart kind of place, right? If you look at their model, they employ warm bodies. People are just, eyes, hands on the leg. There is no participative management. But if you want to be a growing business, you want to leverage this opportunity, whatever is the educational background, whatever is the skill level of the youngsters, they want to participate. That is what gives them joy. Like I am just a labor. Go and do some work, lift the goods from here and there, mechanically smile at the customer. In fact, D-Mart even that's not a requirement. Right? You don't have to look at customer face. But that is, that experience is very important. And people actually relate better to customer when they are more participating. We don't have to train them on a lot of things. Right? How do we bring that, people transformation where people are not laborers? People are more participative in ideas and suggestions and identifying frictions. And how do we build quality sensitivity in everybody? Right? So that kind of people transformation have to happen. So if we become digital, see, remember in Uber, they made the drivers sensitive. We have to really appreciate that, whatever they did, once a Uber vehicle is cleaner, a Ola vehicle is cleaner than the taxis we know before, right? And the drivers are better dressed, drivers are better behaved, all of them were happening. Same thing you can say with the Swiggy delivery partner or Zomato delivery partner or whatever, right? So how did they make that happen? In their case, they, in an unsustainable way, they gave more money to the people. Since the money is very good, they want to be part of the system. But the business is loss making. But that part is very bad for the company that operates it, right? Because they are all losing money. But how can we take the good things from them? So instead of paying that unsustainable wages, you make them participate in your growth by making them use their brain also in the job, giving them a more personal, experience to them, and things like that. So if we do that, and the tools actually assist them. Because the moment you are digitally transformed, for example, when a mistake happens, normally, in fact, in our own company growth, what helped is, our first reaction is to blame a person when there is a problem. Instead of that, if we ask ourselves, is something wrong with my policy? Is something wrong with my process? Is something wrong with my tool? Is something wrong with my training? Right? Or is something wrong in this context where everything is applied? And finally, I come to, okay, this individual is not cooperating or learning or whatever, right? But that's the seventh or eighth thing. But we ask a lot of other questions first. Then it puts tremendous faith on the people. Our own retention of people increases. I'll tell you why this is important. I was looking at Domino's annual report about 6 months back. Can anybody guess what is the attrition rate of Domino's in a year? What do you think it will be? Attrition in Domino's.
20%?
Huh?
20%?
20% is one answer. 10% is another answer. Okay. I want you all to hold your breath. I don't want anybody to faint here. 110%. So I am sure all of you have much better attrition rate than that. Right? At 110% attrition, how are they able to give consistent quality customer experience? See, they are a public company. You can all download their annual report and see they report their attrition percentage. 110% attrition in a year. See, this shows lack of involvement of the people in the business. So everybody must be doing their job mechanically. Right? If you can create an environment where people can work with a little bit of emotion, nobody can beat you in your business. So that is the opportunity for us. Because consumers want experience. Not only with the tools, also with the people. So consumers want experience. Consumers want to engage with your business using technology. And the market is growing. And technology is democratic today. It is not like you need $1 million or 10 crores to implement technology. Right? Whether it is Order Easy or Go Deliver or GoShoot or any of the tools, if you have a 3,000 square feet store, you can implement all of them in, most of the small businesses can implement in less than 6 digits and few businesses with 6 digits. That's all it will cost. It's not, technology is the cheapest in India. Like to give you some context, Toast Post is a public company in America. Square is a public company in America. Shopify is a public company in America. Lightspeed is an American company. They all charge $3,000 to $5,000 per store per year. That is 2.25 lakhs to 3.75 lakh per store per year is the technology cost. Whereas in India, the less I talk about the amount, the better. Right? It's so cheap in India. But I don't understand why retailers can't, if all of them start using technology, the prices can even fall in India. Right? And so, to me, if, for example, 10 years later, if I see, the Reliances and the Amazons and the Walmarts and all of them have more than 25% market share, we all got to blame ourselves. I'm talking about 10 years later. Whatever business you are in, the organized players should not have more than 25% market share because all the power to stop them from getting there is with you. So if you use that power, they never get there. And we want to work with you to provide all the technology you need. So thanks again for the patience and all the best. Thank you.